just the last cigar festivals that just happened. So they had Puro, Sabor, never been to in Nicaragua.
Damn, all these beautiful ladies. Got a good group.
And with that, we are live. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. Welcome back to the Light 'em Up Lounge. I'm very pleased and very happy to be hosting another very interesting cigar industry panel. And we want to discuss, as always, the most recent events, what's happening lately in the cigar industry. We want to take an in-depth look at the cigar world and all its many different facets. And I'm absolutely delighted and honored to welcome our guests for today, where we want to talk about the most recent, the 2023 cigar festivals, festival season, as we called it. I'm very happy to welcome the Executive Vice President from ProCigar, Cathrine. I hope that I pronounced the name correctly. But
you did it right.
Ms. Llibre, it's brilliant to have you with us. So thank you so much for taking the time and joining our panel today. It's a privilege. You've been in this role for quite a long time, despite your youth and all the energy that you bring to the table. But I very much look forward to learning more about your role with ProCigar, your experiences from the festivals of years past, and in particular the 2023 festival as well. Joining us,
thanks to you, Reinhard.
Thank you. Well, joining us from Miami, but on behalf or covering more the Nicaraguan side of things, Claudio Sgroi, who used to run the Puro Sabor Festival, and he was in charge as the president for the Cámara in Nicaragua, the Chamber of Tobacco. Claudio, you look 10 years younger, freshly shaven. It's always great to see you. Welcome back. Thanks for taking the time and joining us. It's a privilege to have you, and we had the honor of hosting a virtual Puro Sabor, and thankfully this year saw the return of live festivals, and so things are back to normal after a couple of pandemic hiccups, if I may say so. But I can't wait to hear from your experiences this year's festival and obviously years past. So thanks for taking the time and joining us.
Thank you so much, Reinhard. It's always a huge pleasure to be invited by you and to be with very old friends, new friends, and yes, everybody was back this year, so a lot of things to talk today.
Brilliant. And just back from Cuba, a dear friend, fellow, and all these mesmerizing impressions right off the airplane almost. J.W. Wintersteen III. J.W., it's great to have you with us. You've just came back from the Festival del Habano 2023 from Cuba, so it'll be very interesting to learn about your experiences and how the Cuban festival this year saw the return of the live events in Cuba. And so please share with us your experiences, and it's great to have you on the panel today. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Reinhard. And reminded me of the last festival I attended, as there was a little bit of a COVID outbreak. Everybody's fine, but at the end of this one, so we had another fellow that was going to be able to join and can't, but got some great things to report. The festival's back and as good as it's been since I started going in 2008. So we'll have lots to report for everyone.
Brilliant. Also, we have, of course, our Light 'em Up family and friends joining us as always. But I'm very happy to have Raquel Quesada with us today. Also, of course, also heavily involved with the festival in the Dominican Republic. Raquel, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Hear your thoughts as well. So please chime in at any given moment. And the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Cigar Journal, Reinhard Widmeyer is here with us today. Reinhard, you've seen, you've experienced, you've participated in all three festivals numerous times and throughout the years. So I can't wait to hear from your invaluable experience of all these festivals throughout the years. So thank you very much for joining us as well. And whenever you feel like chiming in, please enlighten us with some of your past experiences as well. And it's good to have you with us.
Thank you very much, Reinhard. Thank you. I'm sorry I was on mute.
All good.
Yeah.
So a superb crowd, a fascinating array of guests with a combined experience and expertise in the cigar world that is just beyond my wildest imagination and dreams. Let's dive right in. As we discussed and as we said at the beginning, 2023 finally saw the comeback of personal life events after the COVID-19 pandemic, and much anticipated, I would say, the reunion, the camaraderie. That's what makes cigars so special. An opportunity to meet fellow enthusiasts, to enjoy great moments, but also to get an opportunity to see the operations, visit manufacturers, and understand the entire process from seed to the ultimate smoke and experience. Ms. Llibre, what did it feel like for you to experience this year's festival? And what would you say were some of the key takeaways for this year at the ProCigar Festival, and the things that truly mesmerized you the most, seeing all the people coming together again and coming to the Dominican Republic?
Well, it's definitely, we were all very happy, but I don't know if you noticed that actually ProCigar did the festival last year. So everything that you're saying, we kind of felt it more last year because we were able to do the festival. So this was the second year after the pandemic that we've been doing it. But again, to have everyone again together, especially, the first night that everyone is seeing each other, it was great. It was a great experience for everybody.
And I think in particular, of course, you're absolutely right. The ProCigar did happen in 2022, but it was still kind of a bit of a different vibe, right? People were still kind of stuck mentally in the entire COVID situation. And I feel, at least in my experience, this year was the great liberation for everybody, and people just felt way more at ease, and it was back to normal, kind of, right? Is that also what you experienced from the participants, and how the whole festival ultimately evolved and happened?
Definitely, as you're saying, it felt like before the pandemic. So yes, I agree with you. But last year we were so lucky that the conditions in the Dominican Republic were actually, in good shape. Like 2 weeks before the festival started, it was incredible that we got the permission from the government or not the permission. I mean, like the whole country was able to be without the mask. So that was, that was actually just decided like 2 weeks before it started, not because of us. It's just that the health conditions were okay, and the government thought that it was, a good decision, and actually it was. Thanks to the government of the Dominican Republic, the COVID situation was handled very well, and that's why we were able to do this event last year. So in a way, it was, let's say, not normal, but we were able to do the event without any restrictions in terms of using masks. Although we did have to use a lot of sanitizers and all of those other protocols, but in a way it was not normal, but we were so happy that we were, could be all together. But like you said, this year was fantastic because we even, you know, I mean, still we do some protocols because I think that the world has changed as after the pandemic. So there will be some protocols that will remain forever. But it felt like normal, like you're saying. Yes, yes, it did.
That's wonderful to hear. Claudio, I'm curious, how did the Puro Sabor 2023 feel different compared to the years before? And obviously, your time as the president of the chamber was quite a particular one. But share a bit with us how you experienced this year, how you feel it was different, and how those last years, as Ms. Llibre rightfully said, have truly changed how we all think, how we travel, how we experience, but still with everybody so happy to finally have a chance to come back together again.
Yeah, unfortunately, we'll be remembered as the only president that canceled 2 festivals that didn't make any festival. But yeah, it doesn't matter that it was a spectacular festival for 2 reasons. First of all, yes, of course, after 2 years, we get back all together in Nicaragua. So we had the chance, you know, to have a very successful festival, but as well a lot of people from outside without restrictions, without testing, nothing. And it was awesome to see everybody there. And the second reason, because it was our 10th anniversary. So it's a milestone for the Tobacco Chamber and the Festival Puro Sabor as well, because it's already 10 years, but more than that, because 2 festivals was canceled because COVID, and I think 1 or 2 in the past were not done during the year. And for the first time, for my big surprise, I saw a lot of participation not only from outside, but from Nicaraguans as well. So for the very first time, yes, we had a huge crowd of local people from Nicaragua, not only from the industry, but as well, of course, we had a huge participation from the government as well this year. So that we are present in all the main events and the welcoming dinner and the gala dinner, but as well a lot of Nicaraguans. So I'm very happy because Puro Sabor is not only growing outside of Nicaragua international cigar events, but as well internally. And it's beautiful because it's just to take you know, the chance for all Nicaraguans to discover an industry that unfortunately is still not very famous. Let's call it like this in Nicaragua, because it's a very particular industry. It's in one region or a couple of regions of the country, so it's not popular like other industries or the magnitude that the other industry have in the country. So very happy about that, and of course, you know, to see everybody, you know, cheering with a cigar in the hand, it's always spectacular.
Absolutely. Now, JW, what were your key takeaways from this year's Habanos Festival, and what were some of the things that probably surprised you the most, seeing the festival now after a couple of years of pandemic pause? And yeah, it seems that there were quite a few surprising elements. Obviously, political visits as well, with some of the state representatives at the festival. What are your takeaways? What was your experience like, and how does it feel to be back now after those impressive days?
Well, I'd start with talking about the predictable and what was normal. Everyone, just as Claudio was talking about, everyone was looking forward to getting back together. The last time most of us had seen each other was the week COVID really had started hitting Cuba in the last week of February, the last festival in 2020. Things were back to normal. We had 3 large release nights. The Monday Monte Cristo Open for the Slam release went very well. We had a Wednesday night Bolivar Gold Medal night, and we had a subline for Partagas on Friday night. We had quite a few people, new visitors from the East that we hadn't seen before. And it was nice to see the accelerated involvement from more and more people. While there still were retailers and different enthusiasts that were few missing, that we missed, there was a lot of normalcy, not just with feeling like COVID hadn't happened until the end with a few people, but everyone was back. Shops were actually full of cigars, which a lot of us did not predict. That was a surprise. And we definitely did have a political surprise. We had a nice visit the first day during the convention from the president of Cuba, who came to shake hands and meet some people. But then also at the gala dinner, he attended the entire gala dinner through the auction, stayed the entire time, and spent about 2 hours meeting enthusiasts and people who were there to celebrate great Cuban cigar. So we were definitely surprised from that and that level of involvement from the government.
Ms. Llibre, you've been part of the ProCigar organization and the festival for many, many years. Throughout those years, how do you feel the importance of the festival has evolved, and where do you see the quintessential, like the essence of the festival, the value that it brings to the international cigar community and the people in attendance, most certainly, but also to the local community, to the cultural heritage that is represented throughout the festival, or all the festivals, of course, and the importance for the local people, truly?
Well, definitely, as you mentioned, we started, well, we were celebrating this year our 15th anniversary of the festival. Also, ProCigar was celebrating its 30th anniversary. And when we first started back in 2008, it was a dream, and it's kind of funny, but we started doing this festival without actually, an experience on that. I was handling groups for a cigar manufacturing event. That's what I was doing, and we had this dream in ProCigar that as Dominican Republic was, growing and exporting premium cigars, it was definitely a good idea, to have a festival locally as well. And that's how it started, with only 80 people. So when we see what we started in 2008 and where we are, and what this festival has become, not only for the cigar industry, but also for Santiago, which we are proud to call it the cigar capital of the world, because there's so many, factories located here, because there's so many areas to grow premium tobacco and all that. So Santiago is recognized as a cigar spot, and not only locally, but as I said, because of the festival, it has earned, let's say, it has earned a reputation because of the festival. And to see how we started and where we are, we feel very, very, very proud. The festival, as mentioned before, is not only about cigar. It's, a lot of things happen because we try to involve, and I'm pretty sure that my colleagues here in Nicaragua and also in Cuba, it's about, whole country. It's about your culture. This year, we were very happy to mention that last year, after so many years fighting for, Dominican Republic declared, the government granted the Patrimonio cultural heritage. It was, granted by the Dominican government. So now tobacco is considered a cultural heritage of this country. So that was a big celebration for us. And we're not promoting just premium brands, as I said. It's the whole country. It's we promote our culture, we promote our gastronomy, we promote our music, and it was so nice to see everyone getting together. On your first question, as my other colleagues were answering what they felt, I have to mention, to do a festival with the COVID restriction, it was insane to do it, because we can't wear a mask, to do a festival like this or an event like this. So thank God it, is over, and that we can continue to celebrate our industry, not only here, but everywhere else.
Just a little follow-up question on the culture, the World Heritage aspect that you mentioned. How do you feel that could, on the mid to long-term perspective, impact the country, the industry, and probably also have greater implications on an international level?
I couldn't hear Reinhard at the end. Can you repeat your question, please?
I was curious to to learn and understand, how do you think that the aspect that you mentioned, which is fascinating, the world heritage, the cultural heritage and its official recognition, how could that positively impact both the local industry, the cigar industry in general, and probably have greater implications internationally as well?
We hope so. We hope so, definitely. You know that the tobacco industry, we always have regulations, you know, against our industry. And since we have this, that it has become tobacco a cultural heritage, let's see that that's another instrument or another thing that we have to fight with the regulations that arise, you know, every year. So not only do we have to mention that it has an impact, an economic impact in when all those regulations happen in our people, because of all the people that depend from the industry, but it also is about our heritage. I mean, tobacco, it's been in our blood since since our origins, where the tobacco was used for medicine purpose, or the tobacco was used by the Taínos, by the Indians, to promote spiritual celebrations. So it's been part of our culture since the beginning, as I said.
Absolutely. Claudio, I would love to hear your thoughts now with the Puro Sabor celebrating the 10th anniversary, as you said. The evolution of the festival, I think, is fascinating, but also the importance, the weights that it has for the local industry, for the cigar industry in general. It's fascinating, right? In particular, because Nicaragua, over the span of those 10 years, truly made a big step in terms of the overall production numbers of cigars, its global recognition. So how do you feel that that the festival, but the cigar scene in Nicaragua in general, has truly evolved over that time span?
I think that naturally follow up the growing of the industry. First of all, I should say that the cigar industry in Nicaragua is relatively younger than all the other countries. If we saw the growth of the industry in Nicaragua, it's been since the last 15, 20 years. When, for example, in Dominican Republic in the 60s, it was already a very, very important industry. We don't even talk about Cuba, that they made history with cigars. So if you want, Nicaragua was the last one on showing the potential and the growth that today we saw. So the festival was a kind of reflection of this growth. And remember, that was founded with few guys owning a few cigar factories there that were growing as well. Some was already big, some was very small. And we had festival with very few people there. So to see this kind of progression on the festival, beside the progression that we had and we are still having in Nicaragua, it's fabulous. On the other side, there is maybe a technical obstacle in Nicaragua because it's a different country, so we do not have a lot of hotels in Esteli. I should say we have a few hotels in Esteli. We do not have big stages, lights, luxury transportation. So it has been always very difficult to accommodate everybody and to have that high quality level that everybody requires as well. I should say as well that kind of festival as it is today gives a kind of a very intimate dimension to the festival. So everybody, we get a cap the number of people that come to Nicaragua for the festival, because we do not have enough hotel rooms in Esteli to accommodate everybody. So it is still a very small festival, but because of the infrastructure of the country. We would love to do a lot more during the festival for the festival, but we have those technical problems. So this is giving that intimate dimension that everybody can have access to everybody to the festival. The industry there, yes, it has been, I think, a case to study, because in 20 years, not only grow going so fast, but as well as the sustainability of that growth. Because remember, when you have an industry that is booming, of course, you have that peak in the numbers in production, in pounds of tobacco, in infrastructure, in construction, in fields, in everything. But is that sustainable? I think the biggest thing that we should recognize to Nicaragua was the sustainability of the speed of the growth of that industry, which has been, I think, very, very helpful for the entire industry, not only Nicaragua, but outside. And it's a driving force for the country. Today, we are recognized as the fifth economy in the country, still growing. And of course, everybody is still asking that question, is that sustainable? I think it is for now, but there is as well that adjustment in the industry that is pretty much stabilizing the growth and the speed. Now, that festival, it is the reflection as well of that. For example, for the first time, we had a gala dinner with more than 500 people. Maybe some of my colleagues will laugh because they have like 2,000 people at the gala dinner. But again, we are in Nicaragua. So we try to do our best. And I remember my days when I was in the committee of organization of the festival. Every event was very challenging for us, for the organization, the accommodation, the material to bring. I remember 1 year we brought buses from Costa Rica. We didn't have enough buses in Nicaragua to drive everybody around in the country. So it's been challenging, but it's been fascinating as well, the acceptance and the happiness of the people at the festival with what we have there and what we could do.
JW, most certainly infrastructural issues are also something that one has to accept probably or deal with when traveling to Cuba. However, I'm always fascinated by the amount of people that the Festival del Habano can host every single year. How did you experience the country during those past days, and how the entire festival was organized and set up?
Well, regarding infrastructure and basic telecommunications, transportation, I'll give you a juxtaposition from when I started going in 2008, when we would pay $3 or $4 to use a cab to go from one neighborhood to the next. And when we had Wi-Fi, maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for an hour every day or two, at least someone like me, to now having the ability to use video calls on WhatsApp in the last few years. For many Americans that have restricted conditions on their telecom, to be able to use their cell phones there, and being able to even use apps on their phones like Nave, which is almost an Uber Lite for Cuba, that actually keeps the cost down quite a bit. So there's been improvement over the years for that, and I'd say even specifically with transport in the last since 2020. You're seeing more buses, you're seeing even more high-end transportation by Mercedes, et cetera, compared to what you used to see, which, you know, the novel car to see was a hot pink 1950s Buick. So in those ways, that has improved. There are also many more participants and visitors from China this year, especially compared to 2020. And not only did that, was that obvious with attendance of the events, but actually at the gala auction dinner, there were records, as you've probably seen or written about, records that were made that made previous auction numbers and purchases pale in comparison. So the festival, in many ways, not just financially, is growing. And it was surprising to see how much that quickly.
George, I believe you had a comment and you wanted to chime in. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. So please chime in. There you are.
Well, thank you, Reinhard. It's sort of a comment and more of a question based on a couple of the comments. I think Claudio should be saluted for managing to pull off some kind of a gathering despite the bans. But I would say that the attendance, the really rapid growing attendance, is proof of the power of the country industry, their agricultural success, the tobacco leaf. In other words, for all of the people to travel to Nicaragua despite the hardship compared to, you know, the Dominican Republic looks like going to a spa. Regardless festival and for so there, I think ProCigar continues to be the example of festival can be what it should be and what it can accomplish. So my feelings about the range of activities, the way that they accommodate people, be saluted. Habanos is, you know, remains to me content. JW's comment was very revealing to me in a way that he was talking about the shops being full of cigars, which of course people didn't expect given the global shortages right now. But you know, I don't know, this is maybe an impolitic thing to say, but essentially the Festival del Habanos is feels like a cash grab. You know, it's a way to get hard currency out of all the people that attend, providing all this inventory, which everybody packs their suitcases with to go home, since they can't rely on typical distribution. So I was wondering if Reinhold had a perspective on the evolution of all three of these festivals, and the difference in the nature of the, you know, the personality of the events, having done them collectively and separately for some time. I mean, obviously, I've watched them from the beginning, but I wasn't at any of them this year. But I'm just curious if Reinhold has a take on that.
Well, thank you for asking, George. In my mind, I was at all of the festivals from the beginning onwards. Not that I attended all of the festivals, but I was at the initial festival in all three countries or four countries. There was a Honduran festival as well. In my mind, I have to say, and I actually want to say that the Habanos Festival has turned into a show. In my perspective as a journalist, I've never come home from the Habanos Festival with any sort of information. It was just a show put up for people who enjoy Habanos cigars, and but I never wrote an article about this is what I learned and this is new, and there was no information whatsoever so far. And with the other two festivals, I have to say that I like them very much because it's they are more intimate. There is more information. You are shoulder to shoulder with the proprietor of a cigar band and cigar factory, and they're willing to show how their way is the best way and what's their vision. This is what I like in the Dominican Republic and as well as in Nicaragua. I love those contacts, these direct contacts with the manufacturers who are willing to share their knowledge, their information, their you know, they share their pride of their products, and they're open to share it with everybody. This is not the case in Cuba. In Cuba, you only have those standardized phrases like, you know, this tobacco comes from the best region we have, and that's about it. You know, you don't get any further information. So I think that every festival has their legitimate cause. I think it's great to celebrate cigars in those countries. But if I may add a comment to the festivals, I believe that most of those festivals have, except probably the Nicaraguan, have become very big, too big for me. It's a huge party. As much as I like partying, I like education and getting into the things better than partying. I would say it's legit. It's great. People love it, but probably ProCigar has become also a bit big, at least for me. That's my comment for now.
Reinhold, that's very interesting to hear, and I would love to ask Ms. Llibre, can you probably share a bit more in-depth information about the numbers, people in attendance, and how those numbers have evolved? And my second question then would be, where do you see the core value of the festival? Going back to the point that Reinhold just made, would you like to focus heavily on the educational component, as Reinhold put it, the partying aspect, obviously, I guess is important for people in attendance as well, to celebrate the camaraderie and experience that, and of course also the cultural heritage and how to truly convey that message and make people experience and feel and understand local culture. All those are important elements, and I think it's difficult to balance them in such a short period of time. So again, please share a bit about the numbers and also how to balance these things and create an overall experience that people will remember for a lifetime and take the most out of it and home with them.
Yes. Regarding the number, yes, our festival Sgroi, you know, it has getting, you know, bigger and bigger every year. Claudio just mentioned that he saw this year that in Nicaragua they were having more people locally. That's something that we have been experiencing since a couple of years ago. When we started the festival, it was actually just focused mainly in international guests, and nowadays it has become a festival for international and local people, although our main target remains to be international. After being that the festival was, you know, focused on international, we actually started doing a local event just for the locals, because during the festival, the official language, for instance, is English. And since we noticed that, you know, every year there were more local people that wanted to be involved, so we said, okay, why not do just an event for our locals? And that's what we do with the ProCigar Night event, that it happens every year. It's been 10 years already. And it's done in the capital of the Dominican Republic, in Santo Domingo. We always do that during the month of November. But going back to the numbers, we have been experiencing, you know, that growth. It's still, we have a lot of local people, but especially for the dinners, that's something that, you know, it remains every year. During the daytime, we're focused totally on the international guest. And we actually have a couple of events, like the cocktail welcome, the welcome cocktail that we have, that is just for the international guests. Not everyone goes, but it's just, you know, let's say like an excuse, so everyone, you know, see each other, and we don't have any locals at the welcome dinner, just to have this more close experience between manufacturers and our international guests. And we also developed, and that's something that we do every year, let's see how we can we can improve, like see what we can change so it can be a different experience. Although you have been in previous events, and that's something that we focus a lot and that we've tried very hard to improve, because we know that we have people coming every year. So there's always, a brainstorming of, oh my God, what are we going to do next year? That, it still could be a good experience, and that we can actually offer something new. So because of that, because it has grown so much, especially during the dinners, we started doing the tobacco field day. And that's something that we've been doing like for the past, I will say like past 3 years, which is that on the last day of the festival, we don't offer 80 tours. We're all together, all the international guests in a tobacco field with all the ProCigar members. So this is an event that where people, can have a very closer relation, that you can not only interact with the ProCigar members, but also, with the master blenders. And like this year, we did a roll your own experience. We also did trivia, so that people, actually I can learn more about our industry. So when I mentioned, I'm going back just to close up your first question about the numbers. We started with 80 people. This year we were up to 1,000 people. And it's a lot, for the dinners, because yes, we have a lot of people. And as Reinhard mentioned, there's not that close interactions during the gala dinners, but you can always find that during the tours, because the tours are limited, and the tobacco field day also is only, as I said, for the international guests. The goal value, well, that's just to answer your second question. I would say that yes, as Reinhard mentioned, it's very educational. We try that in every tour. All of our members can give a different experience to all the people attending. One of the things that we think is a good value too is that we have faces behind all of the brands. So there's always, be someone that can talk about their brands. And it's all about, promoting our country, educationally everywhere. As I mentioned, gastronomy, culture, music, it's a whole thing.
Absolutely.
Can I just say something?
Raquel, it's
Just
brilliant.
real
I was
quick.
just about to say, talking about face to a brand, I wanted to bring
Yes.
you in, and
No,
I
but I just
hear
wanted to
your
say-
thoughts on this. So
Yes.
perfect timing.
All right. The only thing I wanted to say is that, the beauty and the essence of the ProCigar Festival is that the key players are eager, to show their passion, their history, the generations that are behind all these brands, and to share with all the internationals one-on-one. It's very, very touching, because there's all these families with their daughters, sons, the whole family. You can meet them, talk to them one-on-one. For example, us and the Casada factory, we always try to do, like my father has so much knowledge that he wants to share with everybody, that is so important for in that place to get it across. And we always make seminars on a tobacco that is cured versus tobacco that is not cured, for example, for you to see the difference on tastes. Or maybe we just launched something new to show, and then you could get, since you're here, you get to experience that that new cigar that's coming out, that will be maybe coming out for PCA or for other events. And that's something special that we give to the internationals that come to the festival. So it's very touching, and it's very like a one-on-one thing, which makes it really special.
Beautiful. Many thanks for sharing that perspective. JW, could you possibly take us on a little bit of a tour back to the Festival del Habanos, and how you experienced the educational component, if there was any, referring back to Reinhard's comment earlier?
Well, Reinhard's completely correct about the limitation at the Festival del Habano, about tobaccos and blending going on in the cigars. And the new releases, Habanos is quite proud of letting you know they're final products. Here's an example, the new Linea Maestra, Linea Maestra. And it's a celebration of a brand. But when it comes to the blend, there's little information given. Education is more limited to events during the convention center meetings in the afternoons and mornings, Monday through Friday. Some of them are, some of the times each year will be competitions. In the past was the Habanos Sommelier Contest. And then a few years ago, it's changed now to the Habanos Challenge, where one's acumen and knowledge of Cuban cigars is tested. When it comes to an enthusiast education, it's relatively limited. I haven't attended these other festivals yet, but I'm sure that's correct in the availability of information and the access. And that is definitely a limitation for the Festival del Habano, I would say. Education would not be the first priority. While it may be a priority, it's definitely more of a celebration, or as Reinhard says, a party. And as someone said in the chat, no one makes you think of a party like Reinhard. So they love to have him there anyway. But yeah, it definitely is something and an aspect which I hope Habanos will increase access and raise the priority for.
Claudio, the virtual Puro Sabor that we had the privilege of hosting together, and we were blessed to co-host with Light 'em Up and Rod together, sharing all the knowledge and the information with the world. That particular program was purely focused on the educational component, and the personal live interaction was somewhat missing. But in general, how do you see that delicate balance between entertainment, information being provided, and ideally creating some sort of an infotainment triangle?
Look, I want to be a little bit raw there, answering your question and reading all the comments. First of all, you go to Nicaragua during the festival is the worst part of the year to make business, because we are not there to make business meetings and all those things. It is trying to delete that barrier between the people, the cigars, and the people behind the cigars. So the essence and the spirit of the festival, it is truly opening the doors of everybody's house to the people coming into the country. How you do that is giving the knowledge that the people sitting in their places, it is very difficult to get. So that's why the focus is always on education. It's always to cheer people, to welcome people, and to share what we know and what we do there. Now, it is very difficult, of course, because we have big groups. So there is the management of big groups, logistic, and all those things. But I think from the perspective of education in Dominican Republic and Nicaragua, we are doing still a spectacular job on that. And nobody can say anything about that. Now, the other part, it is hot, it is tropical, it is the Caribbean for Dominican Republic, Central America for Nicaragua. There is the rum flowing. There is cigars everywhere. These people are coming from country that is minus 27, and they are there at 38 degrees. So of course there is always a party. Of course there is always that spirit of life that is coming out of winter from certain people, and of course for another not. But we are all together. So there is a natural, if you want, spirit that is, being together and having a big party together, because it's the only time of the year we are all together. And I can tell you more. There is people that we had from Australia, New Zealand. These guys that traveled in the past, not this year, but in the past, like 26, 28 hours to get there. So, of course, they want to relax, enjoy the weather, enjoy cigars, enjoy rum, the music, the food, the culture. More than that, as Cathrine said, our goal is not only tobacco. It is showing the country. It is showing the food, which is a part of the culture of the country. It is showing our music. It is showing the habits of the people, the entire industry and the families working there. So the balance, how you do that, it's completely different thing than other parties, industries, or festival or trade shows, first of all. Then it's very difficult. Of course, I remember one festival, everybody complained about the food in Nicaragua. Of course, they complained it was not at the level we were, what that we wanted to show to everybody. But because it's Nicaragua, so at the very end, we are like, guys, this is what we eat every day. So for lunch, we eat food that everybody eats every day there. And you know what? After a few festivals, people were happy to have that kind of food and not fancy food or other things that we related for other parties. So it's always difficult. That balance is extremely delicate as well, because you can go pretty much right away into the party music, big productions, and then forgetting a little bit the education, the visits, the information, and everything. But as Cathrine said, our goal is there. Our main focus is always there. Then, of course, a big dinner with 1,000 people, they are gonna dance. They are going to party, and they are going to make 4 a.m. and they are going to wake up destroyed the other day. And we're going to push them to go in a tobacco field and to visit a factory, to smoke not one, but 4 cigars in the morning, as we do every day in our offices. So we are really showing that not only, the camaraderie, all those things, but what we do every day in any condition.
A beautiful thought, Claudio. Ms. Llibre, did you want to add anything to this? Please.
Yeah, it was funny, I was listening to Claudio, and so many things comes to my mind, because when he was mentioning that they didn't like the food, as the vet gets bigger, you're not going to please everybody. So, it's incredible that sometimes you hear a comment from 1, 2 people, but it's not the general comment of everyone. So it's incredible, how depending on who says, it will have an impact of the way we're organizing the festival. So we'll hope it will always happen. So you're not going to please everybody. But one thing is that at the end, we're just listening what people want. So it's been for us, 15 years already. We learn from every festival. Like right now, we just finished 2 weeks ago, the ProCigar Festival. Next week, we will be doing a folder where we were going to talk about all the opportunities, all the things that worked well, all the things that we can improve. We get the feedback from the people, what they want. We're not going to change everything, but there's always, the things that we can listen to. For instance, one of the things that we have changed during these years is that on Friday, we start the tobacco field day with the members at 10:30, because people were partying the last day before. So, we're giving the opportunity that you can do the educational part, but you can do a party. It's not a trade show. It is a festival. So we're celebrating our industry. We're getting together, and we want to do it all. That's what I think is our festival.
You made an excellent point there, and I believe an important distinction that we should keep in mind. It sometimes feels that for the people who are heavily into cigars, who watch programs like the Light 'em Up Lounge, who read Cigar Journal, Cigar Aficionado, Half Wheel, as much as they can, at some point it becomes a bit of a bubble, right? Where we're kind of on the inside or in the know of the industry. And we probably sometimes forget that the festivals are also a great opportunity to bring people in from the outside, those who probably haven't been as heavily involved with cigars before. And so I'm curious about that aspect. Where do you all feel that at some point it's probably a bit self-serving, and the industry is very much kind of focused on itself and the people who already get it, and where could it open up more to outsiders coming in and experiencing the rich cultural heritage and the wonderful power, the mystical power of cigars to bring people together and to share and celebrate life?
Can I start? Just give
Please,
you my comment. Okay, all right. Well, I think the festival, it's a different experience for everybody. That's the way I see it. And the way we organize it is that we have a full schedule for the whole week, but it's up to you. It's up to everyone to schedule what they want to do and how they want to live that experience. So if you want to do like, the whole thing and get the educational part on the party, you book everything. But if you want to do just the party because you've been in the factories already, although we try to offer different experience, even if you have been before, then you can find that as well, but you can skip it if you want. We offer seminars, but if you want to do that because you prefer to relax at the hotel or have, take in a different way, you're also open to do it. So it's very personalized, the way you want to live that experience.
Reinhard, I would also say about the Festival del Habano, one of the best things about it is people who don't consider themselves a heavy cigar enthusiast. Maybe they're not in the industry. Maybe they've traveled to Cuba once or twice or never before. And one of the best things I think the Festival del Habano brings is an opportunity to excite people about cigars once they come to the festival, instead of maybe what's first thought is that you would have to be a cigar nut to come to it. I've seen and brought people before that said, I'll have a cigar, I'll have a few cigars, I don't know too much. But if they attend a seminar, if they learn to roll a cigar, if they watch the Habanos Challenge, if they attend one of the great distribution parties around Havana, if they're in the industry and their schedule is choke full of meetings and work, regardless, it gives people an excitement. And I think sometimes people don't think of it that way. But I think the festival actually can lead demand versus the other way around. And Festival del Habano, at least from my experience, has done that. And I think it's actually a great way to get people into the cigar world, regardless of in the industry or even just as an enthusiast.
If I may, Reinhold, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts from a journalistic perspective. Where do you see the different values of the festivals and how they differ, and maybe how that is shared with the world? Obviously, JW mentioned earlier at the Habanos Festival, a lot of attention is actually focused on the new releases and celebrating the brands. The Puro, Sabor and ProCigar heavily focus on the educational component. How could that be interesting from a journalistic perspective? How can you share that with the world? Obviously, some media outlets try to heavily focus and provide coverage of the festivals with daily reports. So through your journalistic lens, how do you look at that?
I would say, I would first of all agree with JW. I think that all the festivals are really of a tremendous value, getting people into the world of cigars or getting them in touch with cigars, first of all. And yes, maybe I take a little bit back of my earlier statement. The partying is obviously a very important aspect of that. People who have not been in touch with cigars or are no geeks, they like that. They, of course, it's great. It's a great exposure of cigars and cigar culture. I love the aspect of the ProCigar and Puro Sabor festivals with the education. From my point of view, I have to say that I have, prior to the pandemic, I have canceled all the tours and did my own program with our team, just to meet the people, to get in touch, to get deeper into blending, into tobaccos, into growing, farming, into various tobacco seeds and their and what they can provide in a cigar. From a journalistic standpoint, again, I have to say that the festivals are not really what I'm looking for, but I love the festivals for meeting people that I haven't seen in a year, and catching up again, and spending time and talk with him. Just one comment. With all three festivals alike, I think that the party aspect, for me at least, ends with whenever the dinner is over and the music starts, I cannot talk to anyone sitting next to me again, because the music is so loud and people, of course, people want to dance, they want to have a good time, but for me, the party is over. Then I usually, go elsewhere with the people I want to talk to and have a talk. That's, for me, that's what the festival is about. To talk with the people that I haven't seen in a long time and I want to catch up with. But again, my perspective is totally different probably than JW's or anyone else's who wants to go there, celebrate a week long with their buddies and have a good time. I totally respect that.
And Reinhold, I think that's also a crucial thing to remember, and the beauty of these programs. Everybody can probably take something out for themselves, depending on where you are along your cigar journey, your level of experience, and depending on what you're looking for and what you want to get out of those 5, 6, 7, as many days as you want, and as long as there's a wide offering and there's choice for people to focus more on the educational component, or rather, spend some fun evenings with your pals, enjoying cigars, great drinks, music and dance. There's something for everybody, and that's the beauty of it, I feel.
Yeah, totally. And again, I would like to ask you, George, from the journalistic point of view, I assume, we do those little, day 1, day 2, day 3, what happened. But have you ever come back from a festival with new information? No, I guess no, right?
Reinhard, is it okay to answer?
Please, George, anytime.
Yes, in the early days of the Festival del Habano, it was absolutely possible to come home with vital new information. We did the Trinidad launch, and I spent a great deal of time at the factory before. But part of that is that I was on the ground 4 or 5 days in advance and doing work ahead of time, which, as a side note, I think is something that should be suggested to. It's not practical for the Habanos Festival, but for ProCigar and for Puro Sabor, I would suggest absolutely that 3 days ahead of time, ahead of the launch of the festival proper, that there is a media week availability where people can schedule tour times, where they're actually in the factories and meeting, like Raquel is there to give a tour of the Casada operation. You can visit the major players. You could see Nestor Plasencia. You could, there's any number of opportunities where they would get the opportunity to do the things that they perhaps would like to do, but can't in the middle of a tour that's organized with a variety of different people. They can't have the intimate one-on-one. But I will tell you that in every festival that I have attended through my own, I don't know, diligence is the wrong word, but persistence, I have discovered things, sometimes, accidentally in casual asides that were revelations and subsequently newsworthy. But for general purposes today, with how big the festivals have become, how successful they are, and there's no criticism inherent in this. It is impractical for any one journalist to expect the kind of quality time that would result in something significant on a personal learning level. it's different to, oh, here's a new brand, or this is a new shape, or this is a new blend. And it doesn't matter, a new project, any one of those things are slightly more commercial, and they're going to be served by press releases and everything else. So you don't get that. I think that the function of festivals is for a large group of people of varying degrees of experience to be able to embrace the soul and the spirit of the passionate people who are involved in tobacco growing and cigar production in all of these regions, and their enormous energy and commitment and spirit come through in that, and everyone goes away energized, maybe not necessarily educated in the same way, especially if you're, an industry professional with long experience, or a journalist who's been covering it for decades, like Reinhard has. You don't attend a festival thinking, okay, this is going to be an opportunity for me to grow in my understanding of what's happening in a particular country. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't learn something, as you're touring the field and looking at the growth, or you're in the barns and you end up having a conversation with somebody about how the tobacco is being matured or sorted, or what the first stages of fermentation might entail. These things you can learn, more or less by your own persistence. But that's not the format. That's not the intent. So as I say, an earlier opportunity for professionals to engage is a great idea. It may be impractical in terms of scheduling, but the way the festivals work now, they are not conducive towards intimate transfer of knowledge between the core professionals and the people who are most interested in learning that. Does that make, I'm sorry, that was the $5 answer to the quarter question, but.
Can I chime in a bit? This is Kirby Allison.
Yeah,
this was
sure.
my first Habanos Festival event, right? So my experience is probably pretty dramatically different from all of you tried and true kind of professionals that have been doing this for a long time. I think the point that, George raised, to the fact that this is, there's a large event, right? It's actually, I found it really impressive that they were able to organize as much as they did for so many people. But one of the things that I found interesting is I was with Hunters and Francow, right? And, to the best of my knowledge, they are the only of the distributors that, really put a lot of work into the organization of an independent kind of an educational event, right? So we had a lot of, really interesting kind of one-on-one experiences, independent of the official festival program, that I found phenomenally educating. But that was, really at the initiative of Hunters and their team, and kind of their philosophical approach to kind of how they think the time should be spent in Cuba, which is different from all of the other distributors, which, to my understanding, just go there to kind of enjoy themselves and hang out on the beach. We also had the privilege of going several days early to film. And, the content that we got, that I think will be the best content of the entire trip, would have not happened had we not gone early, because it is such a crowded event. You hit the ground running, everyone's behind schedule. There's 15 other journalists that you're competing with for time and attention. We could barely mic people up and set up our cameras before they were already 15 minutes into whatever it is that they were talking about. So you have to take everything into context of kind of, Habanos. I think, to Habanos's credit, they put together a great event, that I think was entertaining and largely educational. And if you look at the number of people that they were able to deliver that to, it's pretty impressive given all of the constraints that they have just internally and, even externally. So.
Kirby, many thanks for sharing, and thanks for joining us today. Raquel, you wanted to chime in earlier, and so please share your thoughts on all of this.
Oh no, I was just going to say that.
Perspective.
No. I was just going to say that in our parties, going back to Reinhard, talking about the loud music and everything, we've been trying to do, party starts at 7, and from 7 to 10, the music is in a lower type of sound. So everybody could talk and you can mingle around and talk to the key players. And then from 10 on, the music goes up and then everything goes away, as Reinhard said. So that's something that we have learned that is important to have in the parties, at least 3 hours that you can actually talk, and not have that loud, music that you can't say a word. So that's something that I wanted to point out.
Good point. And Raquel, when it comes to the educational side of things, and for you as a brand owner and manufacturer, you also have a keen interest in providing people who come and visit your operation with in-depth information about everything that's happening at Quesada Cigars, the way you do things. How do you try to get those messages across? And do you see festivals like ProCigar also as a platform to launch new product? At the Festival del Habanos, that's one of the core elements. I think with Puro Sabor and ProCigar, definitely less of a focus there, right?
Well, it's kind of a combination. As Cathrine knows, when one festival finishes, the next day we're working on the next festival. So it's the same for us in the factories. So it's very challenging because, as Cathrine said, it's 15 years. People repeat the festival. There's also a lot of new members that come, but there's a lot of people that repeat. So you don't want to go to the factory and see the same thing over and over. So we always try to make it different. We have always like different ideas. So as I said before, but it's always focused, at least in our factory. I mean, we started maybe doing tours and showing the people how cigar makers, because everybody has their own magic in their factories, even though we all make the same product, but everybody has their own little touch. So we started, showing the factories, but after that, we realized that people are very eager to learn. So since we have, my father, which is a master blender, and the Hall of Famer, he has all this knowledge. And then, so we decided we wanted to do more seminars, like mini seminars in the factory, rather than just show the fact around the factory. And that's something that has become like very popular, because more and more, I believe that the community wants to know more, about the farms, about the seeds, about how you grow or how you make the cigars, how you make a blend. I mean, this year we made, everybody made a blend. Like we made, we gave out like a lot of different 100% cerullos, and all together we came out with a blend. And surprisingly, the blend was amazing. It came out really good. So everybody was impressed, and then everybody took out cigars that from their blend that we all together made. So something really special. People were like, wow, I couldn't believe like what we did. So at the end, we try to make it special and see how every year we make it, encouraging for people to come back and see something different.
Claudio.
May I think Reinhard is saying something very, very important for a few things, and I think we shared with these comments with the other festival as well, because it is how we handle the media, how they can go maybe with a group or without a group, how can we give the time that they need for knowing the new things, the new guys around, the new tobaccos or new cigars, or all those things. So if you want, that's a comment that is very constructive, and we heard that a lot of times. And I think many, many times we tried to manage the media, okay, as a group differently than the other groups. But back to that, it's very difficult as well. So, for example, when Kirby said that, the importer organized the week only with them outside of the festival and all those things, beautiful. But I should say that that's the work of the festival as well, okay? It is not just an event. So I don't want to go to the events. I want to go to the fields and those things. So again, back to the balance, it is extremely difficult. And Reinaldo, you said something that is, you, George, as well, with your comments, it is very, very important for you guys to have a bit more freedom to go around and to see people that you want to go to see, because you don't want to go to see for the third, the fourth, the fifth time the same factory that you visited so many times. Now, let me say as well that you guys, you come every year. So there's going to be a year that you visited everybody there, okay? Or at least the members of the chamber for Nicaragua, for ProCigars, and the other things. So it is always difficult. It is a comment that we love to have for the constructive, comments to get our festival better and better every day. On the other side, personally, I like to have the media with more freedom to go around, but I always like to have the media to be exposed to all the events, to all the meetings, to all the seminars, because you guys, you have to report as well at the festival, not only your visit. So it is always very difficult to manage that. I think we can get better and better every year with these comments. So these comments are always more than welcome. And I'm pretty sure, Cathrine, we share the same feeling to have those to get better and better every day for everybody, not only for the media, but as well from, just cigar aficionados or distributors or other things. So there is that kind of connection that we have to keep always, constantly in working on progress to get our festival better and better every year.
Fantastic comment, Claudio, and the perfect segue into the part of the show where I would love to discuss the future of the festivals, because you raised an important point. For those who attended multiple festivals and over the years and probably decades, at some point the question arises as to how do you keep it interesting and engaging for people who come for the first time, but also for the old timers who've been there before. Ms. Llibre, both on that very personal aspect, but also the greater scheme of things in the larger picture, what do you see in the crystal ball for the future of the festivals, and in particular for ProCigar? What are some of the things that you're working on and that you would like to see and evolve with ProCigar?
A festival is a learning experience. We try to surpass or improve ourselves every year. Like just yesterday, I received an eight pages from one of the attendees, which we asked to give us, the way it was his first experience. And so I have read 8 pages, and it was so great, to read them, because I'm listening from a guest perspective, not from my perspective. So, we always try to do that every year, to hear what people are saying. And we always get great ideas. Raquel just mentioned, and it's true, in a few weeks, we're going to be starting thinking and brainstorming about what we're going to do next year. One of the things in ProCigar is that we have a team that has been involved in the festival since the beginning, a lot of people. In ProCigar, we're only 5 people, we only have 5 employees directly. But with the festival, we contract people that has been with us since the beginning. So it's a group of about 30 women, not that we have anything against men, but I don't know, it's, they're all women. And we get their feedback now of what they hear from our guests. And we're going to be doing, brainstorming of what we're going to do next year. And we're always trying to improve. It's amazing the comments that we hear from people that although the dinners are usually made in the same location, they're always decorated in a different way, that you could think that you're in a different place, because there's always a different theme. We try to do different also, like with the music, and change the venue, and like the seminars, we try to change it every year. And with all the members, we discussed about, okay, what should this year? Why don't you do this next year? Why don't we change and do that? And actually try to balance that not all of them are offering the same thing. So it's, it's about teamwork. Where we're going to get, I think there's so many years to enjoy the festival. And this is not your question, but I have to say that at the beginning, when I heard that I was going to be part of this, this is the first time that we're actually, doing together with the Festival del Habano and Puro Sabor together. This is the first time it has been done. And I was like, what are we going to do? We're not competing. We are promoting the same industry. When I first started doing the festival, I was asked if I wanted to go to the Festival del Habano. And for some reason, I respect a lot. I mean, it's the oldest festival in this group. And I said, oh, well, I would love to, but not really but I don't really need to go because I don't want to compete with the Festival del Habano. They have their own personality. We want to do the festival that works for the Dominican Republic, and that's what we're doing. So I haven't been, unfortunately, in any other festivals, but there's a reason for that. We don't want to do what they're doing. We want to do it our own way. And I believe that everyone is doing it that way as well. And it's just growth for the whole industry.
Great point. And you captured the essence and the spirit of this show perfectly. I mean, the whole idea was to celebrate the diversity that we have in this beautiful industry, and to also celebrate the uniting elements and how we can bring all these people together, learn from each other, most certainly, and take a little bit of inspiration, probably, but not in a competitive way, but truly by sitting around the table, sharing and embracing a cigar together, and discussing how we can all bring this industry further and help contribute to the evolution of the premium cigar world. Claudio, your thoughts?
Yeah, actually, I should say that Cathrine said something that is not true, that we are not collaborating. Actually, we did. Because the first week that the pandemic was announced, the first thing you see, I called Cathrine, right. Yes, and Enki, the president of ProCigar, to exchange, thoughts and fears at that moment. It was a pretty dramatic moment.
Let me clarify, Claudio. It's not that we're not collaborating. It says that the first time that we're in a discussion panel about the festivals, okay? But that's so.
Yeah, and actually that's true because we are part of the same industry, but we are very different countries. So of course, a Central American country as culture, food, and music and those things cannot compete with Caribbean, and vice versa. So more important, we want to give our own identity to the festival, okay? But instead, what I would like to see, I want to say what I wouldn't like to see. I wouldn't like to see a festival that turns into a trade show. I would be no happy at all to see, a festival that is turning into just a marketing tool to sell more cigars. I don't want to see a festival that gets very, very commercial and kind of, losing the essence of sharing the culture, our industry, and opening our doors. Now, it's very tempting. It is very difficult to keep that in that way. Because, of course, when you get bigger and bigger, we have the problem of what to do with 500 people, 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000 people. Okay, so the work in progress, it is to do new things, okay, to keep the festival exciting, and to keep the people with a smile on the face saying, I want to get back next year, or someone that never came saying, I want to go there. So all the people around the festivals, because it's not only me or my colleagues, there is a lot of people behind the scenes working on those events and preparing everything. It is really a teamwork. And I can tell you, when you are 20 people in a room saying, oh, we should do this for the gala dinner and that for the seminar, this and that, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, because you are just already thinking, oh man, I got 1,000 people. How can they be all of them, the 1,000 people, happy about what we are going to do. So it is extremely difficult. But
And Claudio, I'm
yes,
sorry, but I need to jump in. And there's something similar between Puro Sabor and ProCigar that is a difference with Festival del Habano. And it's that with the festival, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but the Festival in Habano is one head, just promoting and getting instructions and procedures from focus on one, let's say, company. But Claudio and I, we have to deal that not only to please, in our case, like 1,000 people, but we have to please all of our members. So it's really, there's a lot of logistic. It's difficult. It's fun sometimes. It's frustrating sometimes too. But at the end, it's so rewarding. We always said in ProCigar that although all of our members are competitors, during the ProCigar week, we're pursuing the same target. It's a united industry, and that's what we try to achieve. And I'm sorry, please keep going, but I had to say this.
No problem. I agree with you. It's 100% true. And it's a very difficult, to put together all the members, agreeing on all the details of the festival. And, I think the essence of the ProCigar, the essence of the tobacco chamber, even the essence of the Habano, it is really having that week with everybody there to show everything that we know and we have. Of course, everybody has different things. One is more commercial, one is not commercial, the other is not commercial, whatever. But the essence, as Cathrine said, it is a festival, okay? It is not a sales day. It is not a marketing seminar. It is the people behind the scenes, the people that came, and to show everything we can to give you knowledge, more understanding, because if you have more knowledge, if you are more educated, you are going to enjoy more. And of course, as I said, it's hot, loud music, Reinhard, me too. After 22 years of living in these countries, I cannot handle that music. Not yet, not that I cannot anymore, but it's part of the culture, okay? So, and again, personally, it's one of the best parts of the year for me to go to the festival. I'm happy to go there. I'm happy to sleep 4 hours, 3 hours. I'm happy to see under the excruciating sun in a tobacco field. I'm happy, to be with people and to smoke even 10, 12 cigars a day with everybody.
And one aspect that I'm curious about, and Reinhard, maybe you want to chime back in. Do you see on the horizon the potential for festivals in other countries? Again, you mentioned earlier that there was a Honduran festival back in the days. We have Manolo, who is here with us today, Manolo Santiago. Maybe you want to chime in as well and share some of your thoughts in regards to a potential Mexican festival at some point. But just to open this question to the entire panel and all our guests today, what about other festivals that could potentially be around the corner or that you see on the horizon?
If I may, there has been a Mexican festival as well. At least 2 or 3 probably 3 times.
Excellent point. Yeah.
And I've been there, and it was excellent. And yes, it was just as nice, with few people, of course. And I would love to see Mexico and Honduras to chime in the yearly festivals. Every single country has their own specifics and their own beauties. I love the Mexican festival. I love the Honduran festival. I think it's great in the way that you can draw people from Europe, from Asia, from wherever, from the US, to get in touch with those products that those countries produce. And I think it's great. Every single country, be it Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, Honduras, Costa Rica even, and they are preparing sort of a festival, I heard. They all have to offer so much for us, for every single cigar smoker. And personally, I believe it would be wonderful if there would be a whole wide range of festivals throughout the year to attract people depending on what they like and have different experiences. Not only Cuba and the Dominican, but also Nicaragua and Mexico. It's from the standpoint of cigar culture, I would promote it every way.
Reinhard, if Brazil makes a festival as well, we go together. I want to go there too, and I think it's a country that deserves to have a festival as well.
You're totally right. I'm planning to go to Brazil in November and talk about that. You're totally right. It will be wonderful.
Reinhold, many thanks for those explanations and for your thoughts there. Manolo, since I see you in the audience, if you want to share a few thoughts on this, please then chime right in. It would be good to hear your perspective from Mexico.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Reinhard. Hello. Well, of course, it was interesting to hold a festival in Mexico about the tobaccos. Although there is still a lot to do attract all tobacco producers, further, we need to develop the market, develop the brands, and make a complete organization for all producers, the Mexican producers of tobacco. It's very hard. The town, it's totally prepared to receive all attendees for this kind of festival in Mexico. But the principal problem here, without about, it's making a proper organization with all cigar producers. Right now, with the tobacco ban in Mexico, increase the troubles for make a proper festival. I don't know. Maybe in this exercise for our politics, it's very hard to say about the festival. It's our goal for Casa 1910 make a festival in the future years, but I don't know. It's in my task actually, and we hope to make a proper festival for you guys and for all cigar aficionados in Mexico. And the Valley of San Andres, we have all the hotels, all restaurants, and all places to make a proper festival. But I don't know. I hope in a couple of years it's better time for make a festival, Mexican festival of cigars or Mexican tobacco.
Many thanks, Manolo. Great to hear your thoughts. JW, which festival would you be looking most forward to? And I would also like to kind of open the round of final thoughts with you there, and kind of get a closing statement from your side. Some departing thoughts from the Habanos Festival and today's show, please.
Well, I'll tell you, as I haven't attended any of the other ones, Puro Sabor has a lot of interest for me, seeing its growth and the excitement from people that have attended. ProCigar is legendary, as everyone knows, but I will actually try to attend both the next year if scheduling permits. And something to quickly comment on, a fun little anecdote in the conversation previously about festivals promoting their own cigars. there are small times that one can even, if not cross promote, still enjoy another cigar that would really belong in another festival. When I had the opportunity, and with Kirby Allison, we both came and met the Cuban president and had a nice conversation with him. I also gifted him a Nicaraguan Hank. He looked down and he smiled at it in the cellophane, and he enjoyed that. But outside of little anecdotes and cross promotion probably not being possible, I thought overall with the Festival del Habano this year, it was probably the best experience I've had in the 13 I've attended. Just with the number of attendees, the great cigars that were released, and as we've run circles around many times, the celebration with friends, it was important. It was important enough for someone to like me to visit again, maybe only 2.5 hours away versus someone coming from Asia or Europe. But it was a festival that was done so well that I would definitely visit again. So hopefully next year, all three.
Excellent point. Ms. Llibre, what's your final thoughts, and what would you love to see at the 2024 ProCigar Festival next year?
What do we want to see? Keep improving. Probably, someone mentioned before that it's not the core of the festival, to launch cigars, but I think it's a great platform, to do this. So, maybe we can get our members to launch more products. That's a possibility. We'll see, but definitely it's going to be different. That's because that's what we pursued. We always want to give, even if you have been this year, that you can always find something different for next year. So that's for sure.
Always something to look forward to for all the people in attendance. That's for sure. Claudio, my dear fellow, my dear friend, what an exciting show today. I really enjoyed, talking about all the different festivals, jumping from one country to the next, and celebrating the uniting element of premium cigars. So it's been a pleasure and privilege, and I would love to hear your final thoughts and comments.
Puro Sabor, it is one of the things that we do at the Tobacco Chamber, because all the members are united in a true tobacco chamber, a chamber of commerce. So Puro Sabor is something that we do within the chamber. So that's another difficulty, because, being a chamber of commerce, we have all the work we do and plus the festival. So I want to see the chamber growing in terms of members as well, because today we have new players in Nicaragua that are very serious. So I will be very, very happy if the new president, Rubio from the US state, will welcome more members to get more excitement as well. Because sometimes, like Reynolds, that he visits always the same factory. So, okay, for the people maybe coming the third or the fourth time of the festival, they can have access to new factories, to new cigars and other things. And of course, Puro Sabor 2024, I don't know if someone here can open a couple of new hotels in Esteri. Maybe we can have more people at the festival, because not having a new hotel, so we cannot accommodate that. I would love to see the Puro Sabor with thousands of people. But again, it is still a very intimate festival, so I really like that too. And I hope we can always keep the essence of the festival as we do every once a year, not only in Nicaragua, but in the other countries. Now, more festivals around the world. Yes, of course. I think, Honduras deserves to have one. Brazil deserves to have one. Even Mexico deserves, to have one. But again, as Manolo said, very difficult. So I think we still we can keep enjoying what we do in the festivals that are available every year around the world. And hoping, we can get better and better, and having more people, and hopefully having everybody happy. We cannot do that, but we are working hard to do all our best to make that happen.
George, you had a final comment.
I have a final comment after George.
Of course. We'll save the best for last, Raquel. So, George,
Yes,
fire.
exactly. Happy to be followed by Raquel. Always happy to see your face too, Ellen.
I know,
Listen,
me too.
I think that all of the organizers deserve to be complimented for surmounting challenges in their specific locations that we at a distance don't necessarily perceive. And in an instance of ProCigar and Puro Sabor, as Claudio pointed out, serving many masters is much more difficult than having one organization at the top that says, this is what we want to do, and being able to march everyone forward in lockstep because there's nobody else that has a voice. So it's important to keep that in mind that there's a much more diverse array of inputs and ideas from those other festivals, and we need to support them. Regarding the idea of expanding the number of locations that host these, for everybody that has jam-packed calendars already, I would suggest that the alternative is that the smaller festivals should consider alternating years, like maybe it's Brazil one year and Colombia the next, and Mexico following that, so that there's less of a burden. They have more time to prepare, and people, it's all the idea. I'm sure Reinhard needs a month vacation when Reinhold, when he comes home from 3 festivals in a row. He needs some spa time to recover mentally as well as physically. So that's there. But I raised my hand because I wanted to ask a ridiculously superficial question to JW. Out of the 3 cigars that were launched at the Habanos Festival, what was your favorite?
I can't believe I'm saying this because I was never a fan of the Monte Cristo Open, but the improvement they've done with the blend on this new Slam impressed me the most. The Linea Maestra was a solid cigar as well.
Good. All right, Raquel, we're all dying to hear what you have to say.
Oh, no. This is very, very simple. I just wanted to close out, congratulate Reinhard on this great panel, because this is a very friendly industry and we all learn from each other. And we have learned today many things from each other. And that's the beauty of life, just to make it better each time and learn from each other. So thank you so much for putting this together. At the beginning, I was really a little hesitant, but I really, really have to say thank you for letting us join you today and see everybody's perspective.
Oh, thank you,
Chapeau.
Raquel. That's a lovely comment. But well, thank you so much. I'm honored. But Light 'em Up has always been a platform for people to come together to share information and knowledge, experiences in and around the premium cigar world. And it's because of all of you. It's because of the people who make this industry great, world class, and it's because of everybody watching, and it's because of all the cigar enthusiasts' keen interest and what makes this mystical product so special. So I have to say thank you. And it's been a privilege and joy to host tonight's panel and many, many more to come. I want to wholeheartedly thank you, Raquel, for joining us today, Kirby for chiming in. I want to thank George participating, and in particular our panel, Ms. Llibre, Claudio, JW, Reinhold, of course, for chiming in. Thank you all very much. It's been a privilege and a pleasure.
Thank you, Reinhard.
Many thanks from heart. And Ms. Llibre, did you want to make a final comment? Because I saw your hand up there. Or?
Yes, just a final comment. Yes, I wanted to say thank you, yes, for doing this panel with all the colleagues. And actually, one thing just came into my mind, and is that these are the things that we should do, because at the end, as we have been mentioning, we're pursuing the same thing. We are promoting a whole industry. I think that we all have 3 different products, They're all great. They all have a target. The industry is pretty large. So there will be so many, so many years to enjoy with a lot of upcoming festival. And maybe I just want to ask Claudio and JD that we can get some times together when we have the date for next year. We have our dates already, but it would be great that we can always see if we schedule in different timing. Usually Puro Sabor and our festival are always in different timing, but I know that in the past we have had the same timing for the Festival del Habano. At the end, I don't think, we have different audience, but it's so great when it happens just right after one on another, especially with the Festival del Habano, because I know that we had people this year that jumped after hours to Cuba, and that was great, because actually you have the time, you can attend to both. So maybe, that's something that we should get together after that and see when it's going to be, so we don't do it during the same week. Thank you so much to everyone, and thank you, Reinhard, for the invitation.
A great parting thought and a great initiative, most certainly. And exactly the spirit of the show, of Light 'em Up in general, is to build bridges and to bring people together. So hopefully there can be much more panels, but also intertwined action and things that we can all do together to help the industry grow. So again, thank you very much from heart to all of you. My blessings, my sincerest regards, and I hope that you join us next week again, next Wednesday, for another Light 'em Up Lounge. So many thanks for today. Light 'em up, and goodbye, everybody. Many thanks.
Thank you, Reinhard.
Bye.